Shlosh Bokeror. Masechet Bava Kamma Daf Amud Aleph 39a1. We are by the Mishnah. A Mishnah says Shor shel Pikeach, Shenagach Shor shel Cheresh, Shote vekatan Hayav. If you're a shor of a Pikeach, of a normal person, he comes and gores a shor of a Cheresh Shote vekatan, deaf mute, right? Shote, I'm not 100% there, or a minor, they're going to be Hayav. But if their shore gores, they're going to be patur. Says the Gemara, shor shel cheresh shote vekatan shenagach. Right, when you have a shor shel cheresh shote vekatan that gores, betim mamidim lem apotropos. Betim will come and put for them an apotropos. Mamidim lem ifnei apotropos, and they're going to testify in front of the apotropos. Right, the apotropos is like somebody like an agent, or I don't know how you want to call it exactly. That's in charge of the properties. It's like a custodian or whatever you want to call it exactly. So nitpakach hacheresh. What happens if the cheresh became normal? Nishtapa shote, the shote became normal. V'igdila katan, and the child became an elder. He became bar mitzvah. Chazal letamuto. So then it goes back to become a tam. Kilu that they didn't testify. Those are the words that Rabbi mean. Rabbi Yosef says, no, it still says like the same chazakah. Shor ha'itzdadin, a shor that they come and they teach them to gore, right, in the stadiums. Eno chayav mita is not going to be chayav mita. Shneimar, but it says ki igach velo sheyagichuhu. As it says ki igach means that it's going to do it on its own. So then it's going to be chayav skila. But if they bring him to do the skila, if they bring him to gore, meaning that's what they train him for. They train him to gore. So therefore, he's not going to be chayav. Says the Gemara, hagufa kashya. He comes and he says this in itself is a question. Amarta, you just told me shor shel cheresh shote vekatan shenagach shor shel pikeach patur. You just told me that when you have a shor of a cheresh shote vekatan that he gores a shor shel pikeach, he's going to be patur. Alma, as you see from here, en ma medina potropos tam ligbot migufo. Yeah, what does that mean? The betin are not going to take an apotropos tam, right, to collect from the body, right, of the shor. So ema seifa, let's see the seifa. Shor shecheresh shote vekatan shenagach betim mamidim lahem apotropos midim lahem ifnei apotropos alma. So you see from here, meidim lahem, we are going to come and we're going to testify apotropos tam, right, ligbo migufo, which means this. We asked the contradiction. The contradiction was, you just told me in the beginning of the Mishnah that a shor of a cheresh shote vekatan is patur legamre, correct? That's what he said. So it's mashma that we don't put an apotropos tam in order to come and start collecting. We don't do nothing. But in the Seifa, it says we put an apotropos. And therefore, it's mashma over there that we do come and we start collecting. So I don't understand. He's not patur legamre. He has to pay. So what's going on? So says the Gemara, Amar Rava says, Hachi ktani, this is what it means to say. V'im uchzeku nagchanin, ma'amidim lahem apotropos, u'me'idim lahem bifnei apotropos, u'mashvilen lehu muad. He comes and he says this. If right now there's a chazakah, im uchzeku, right, the shor of a cheresh shote vekatan, they became a chazakah that they're nagchanin, that they're nagach. Ma'amidim lahem apotropos, we're going to put them in apotropos, u'ma'amidim lahem bifnei apotropos, u'mashvilen muad. And we're going to make them into a muad. The chihadar nagach is when he's going to come and he's going to gore again. So then what happens? He comes and he says, right? He says like this. He says, in such a case, the shayel le he's going to pay from the aliyah. Okay? What does that mean? That means here, basically, the way that we're answering is that if there became a chazakah that they're nachanim, we place it in potopos and we testify and we make it a muad. And therefore, if he does it again, now he's going to have to pay from the best, right? That's what it means. Meaning that you're right, to collect from the chetzi, we don't do that. Right? Really, be'emet, we're not going to put on a potopos to collect from them. But to make it into a muad, that yes. That we're going to come and we're going to make it into a muad. Okay? Fine. Says the Gemara, Maliyat man. You're going to collect from the aliyah of who? It says, Rabbi Yochanan comes and he says, Me'aliyat yetomim, from the aliyah of the yetomim. Rabbi Yosef Bar Chanina says, Me'aliyat apotropos. So basically, there's machloket. Who do they collect? Collect from the aliyah of the yetomim or from the apotropos? So he says, Umi Amar Rabbi Yochanan Achi, does Rabbi Yochanan actually come and say this? Amar Rabbi Yudah Amar Vasi, he says, Rabbi Yudah name Vasi, He says we never touch the property of Yitomim unless there's a ribit involved. That's just taking away all their property, meaning that's consuming all their property. But Rabbi Yochanan says, but that's it. You're not going to come and start taking it away from the Yitomim. So says the Gemara, you're right. You have to switch it. Ipuch. Rabbi Yochanan was the one that says Maliyat Apotroposim, and Rabbi Yochanan says Maliyat Yitomim. So Rava says Mishum the Kasha Rabbi Yochanan, because you had a question, a stira between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yochanan. Mishavili and Rabbi Yossi Bechanina Toeh. That's what you're going to say. That Rabbi Yossi Bechanina was one that made a mistake. Rabbi Yossi Bechanina Dayanahu. He's a Dayan. He always used to go down to the Umkad Ladina. Really, I'm going to say that you don't switch it. For Mazik Shani. To do the mazik, it's different. Meaning like this. Usually, we don't touch the properties of Yitomim. That's in a regular case. But not when they're mazik. When they're mazik, meaning that they go and they damage other people, right? Obviously, it's not them. It's their animals, whatever. There, it's a different halacha. Rabbi Yochanan says, Maliyat Yitomim. Ti amarta beziv, you're going to tell me, Maliyat Apotropos, from the Aliyah of the Apotropos. Lameteta mubet, 39b. Right? Miman velo avde. So then people will not come and put an apotropos. They will never become an apotropos. Imagine right now, Richard, I come in and tell you, you want to be a guarantee, you want to be like a thing, and all of a sudden, I'm going to collect from you. He's going to tell me, thank you, but no thank you, I don't want to. Well, what, I want headaches? Then now I'm going to become obligated and damages or whatever it is? Huh? No, אבל הוא לא רוצה את זה, זה בחינם. אז הוא לא ירצה את זה. Why would he need it? Fine, you're right. Rabbi Yosef Chanina says, "Maliyat Apotropos." He says, "No, you're right. They're going to come. They're going to get paid back." No, he says they could collect it afterwards when they become bigger. The Yitomim,
subrogation.
Yes.
Subrogation.
What's it called? Subrogation. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara, "Umamidim laim apotropos letam ligvo migufo." So, do we actually put an apotropos to collect chetzi nezek from the goof? Tonight here, it's a machlok tanaim. It's a tanya of Zulun to the Braita. Shor shenitcharsha be'alav and nishtatu be'alav. Right, when you have a shor, okay, that nitcharshu be'alav, the baalim became cheresh, and nishtatu, they became a shoteh. V'shalchu be'alav le'medinat hayam, or they came to Medinat Hayam. Yehuda ben Nekusa Amar, Yehuda ben Nekusa says, Sumchus, in the name of Sumchus, hareu betamuto, it's still a tam. Until they're going to come, they're going to testify in front of the baalim. Chachamim say no. מעמידים להם פוטרופוס, מעמידים להם לפני הפוטרופוס. להתפקח אחרי שנשתפש אותה וגרעי והגדיל הקטן, הוא בא בעלה ממדינת הים, יהודה מנקוסה אמר סומכוס, חזר לתמותו, you go back to the town, עד שיעידו בו בפני בעלים, until you're going to testify in front of the בעלים, and Rabbi Yosef says, he still has the chazakah, that he's going to be a muad. So it comes out as a machloket, do you still stay the same status quo, that they're still a muad because they testified about it a few different times? Or do you come and you say, right, the note that they met, they have to testify in front of the Baalim. Some rules, so they said, what does it mean now he's going to be a tam? The Kamar Sumchus. If you're going to tell me that it's not going to be a muad at all, let's see the Seifa. What does it mean it goes back to its tam? So it's mashma that it became a muad. And are you going to tell me it goes back to becoming a tam? So what does it mean? It's still the tmimut, velo machasrin aleh, right? And therefore, we're not going to have a lacking. Almas, you see from here, Emma Medina Potopos Lata, we're not going to put a potopos for the tam, ligbot migufo. Chachamim omrim, chachamim say, Medina Emma Potopos, Medina Mefna Potopos. Almas, you see from here, Medina Potopos laem ligbot migufo. We do come and we put a potopos to collect from the body. We do that. We come, we do this. The Seifa, the Maika Mipalge. So what is the machloket then in the Seifa? The Shut Mishana. Right? If the shore goes into a new reshut or not, meaning Ika Benayim. Sumchus holds that it's a reshut mishanat, that basically when it goes into a new reshut, it changes the halacha. Meaning, imagine right now I come and I sell you a shore muad, it becomes a tam. You know why? Because it changed.
What does it mean? New jurisdiction, new owner,
new ownership,
or a new location?
New ownership.
That's ridiculous. Why should that matter?
That's a sumchus. And Rabbi Yossi holds the shut era mishana. It could be, maybe it could be that when with the old owner, the animal was not.
To beat it, maybe.
Yeah, I used to beat it. Bastante. A las 9. Sí. Gracias. Right? So, you know, it changes or whatever it is. You understand? So it could be that it changes different things. Okay? That's according to Rabbi Yossi. Right? Tanu Rabbanan. So we learned in the Braita. Okay, we're halfway down. Okay, Tanu Rabbanan. Yeah? שור של חירש שוטה וקטן שנגח. רבי יעקב משלם חצי נזק. So a shor shel cheresh שוטה וקטן that gores, Rabbi Yaakov pays חצי נזק. He says, Rabbi Yaakov, what do you mean he pays חצי נזק? אלא אם Rabbi Yaakov, no, Rabbi Yaakov says that he has to pay חצי נזק. Okay? במה יסקינן? What are we dealing with exactly? So he comes and he says like this. What are we dealing with? He says, במה יסקינן? If we're talking about now a tam, so he comes and he says, right? Pshita, obviously. If it's a tam, everybody always pays chatzi nezek for a tam. And if it's a muad, right? So if he properly took care of it, so then he doesn't have to pay. Why? Because it's a cheresh shoteh v'katan, if you remember. If he didn't do anything, he should pay the entire thing. What's going on? It doesn't make sense. So says the Gemara, Amar Rava says, Leolam b'muad. Really, we're talking about a muad. The Hechal Maskina, what are we dealing with? The Avdi Shmira Pechuta. That he did a small Shmira. The Lo Avdi Shmira Beula. But he did not do a good Shmira. Meaning he only did a little bit of a Shmira, but he didn't do the proper Shmira. Rabbi Yaakov holds like Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, sorry. Tamar, Tzad Tamud Bimkom Omedet. That it still has the Tzad of the Tam. Which means the Tashlum of the Muad is actually Chetzi Nezek Tam and the Chetzi Nezek Muad. So even if you're going to be poter, the chelek of the muad, you still have the chetzi of the tam. You remember that we had a question. When a person is obligated of the muad, is it a new entity of muad, or is it really be'emet, you're chayav the chetzi nezek of tam, and then you have another chetzi nezek of muad, which is added on to it. So even if we are going to exempt you of the chetzi nezek of the muad, you still have the chetzi nezek of the tam. The Sava like Rabbi Yehuda, and he holds like Rabbi Yehuda, Damar Muad Sagile B'Shmira Pekuta. He holds like Rabbi Yehuda that technically speaking, even by a Muad, you only have to watch over it a little bit. The Sava like Rabbanan, and therefore he holds like Rabbanan Damri that they say, Ma'amidina Putupus Tam Ligvot Migufo. Okay, which means that they're going to put a Putupus, they're going to come, they're going to collect Migufo. Okay? So Elmaleh Abaye comes and he says, Velo Plig, but there's not a machloket. Right? What does that mean? There's no machlok between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yaakov. How could that be? But Tanya, we already learned. Rabbi Yehuda says mechayev, and Rabbi Yaakov says chetzi nezek. That means obviously there has to be a machlok between them. That one of them is saying that he's going to pay, right, which is mashma pay full amount, and the other one says only chetzi nezek. So Amar Rabbi Beula says Rabbi Beula mash mechayev Rabbi Yehuda piresh Rabbi Yaakov. He says no, they both hold the same thing. When he said mechayev, he didn't say nezek shalev. He says you're chayav. Chayav what? Says Rabbi Yaakov chetzi nezek. Rabbi Yaakov was explaining Rabbi Yehuda. He wasn't arguing on Rabbi Yehuda. He was explaining because he just said mechayev. Mechayev what? So he said chetzi nezek. Chetzi nezek. Rabbi Yaakov is explaining it. Okay. Ulabaye damar plige. But Rabbi says no, that they're arguing. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yaakov, they're arguing. So what's the machlok between them? So Abaye is going to tell you what are we dealing with? B'muad. We're talking about a muad. Velo natre klal, he didn't watch over him at all. Rabbi Yaakov said like Rabbi Yehuda bechad. So Rabbi Yaakov holds like Rabbi Yehuda in one halacha and argues on with another. He holds like Rabbi Yehuda, but according to Rabbi Yehuda, he holds tzad tamud bimkoma omedet, which means that you still have the tzad of tam in the animal. And you have to divide the chetzi nezek and chetzi nezek, half payment and half payment. Half payment is for the tam, half payment is for the muad. But he argues on Rabbi Yehuda because Rabbi Yehuda holds that we put an apotropos to collect half of the damages, and Rabbi Yaakov holds we do not put it. And you're only going to pay half of the muad. Okay? So Elmaleh Ravacha Abaye Ravina says Ravacha Abaye to Ravina. Bishlam Abaye, I understand Abaye that he says that there's a machlok between them. Shapir makes sense. But according to Rava, that he says that they're not arguing. Right? Adamukila b'muad. If you're going to tell me that they're arguing in a muad, right? Nukmi betam. Why don't we just say that they're arguing in a tam as well, right? One more time. We had the first one was basically telling you that even though Rabbi Yaakov comes and he says you're paying chetzi nezek, there's no machloka between Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda says mechayev. So we thought mechayev meant full damages. Says no. Rabbi Yaakov explained Rabbi Yehuda, and therefore when he said mechayev, he only has to pay half the damages. That was according to the first shita, right? Rabba Barula. Now we have a second shita, which is Abaye. Abaye says, no. There was a machloket right? There is a machloka between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yaakov. So he says, so what's the machloka between them? He says like this. He says, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yaakov holds like Rabbi Yehuda, that when you say that a muad pays nezek shalem, it's comprised of like two different sets. Half of the nezek is tam, half of the nezek is muad, meaning it's not like a new tax. It's like two separate taxes. You understand? You have the tax of what we have, right? The entire concept, right, of what we have, the entire tax of what we're speaking about, of meaning like this. When you come and you say that a muad has to pay nezek shalem, is that a new entity or is it half and half? Half because it's a tam and half because it's a muad. That's the question. Okay? So what it says here, though, is very interestingly, he says he holds like Rabbi Yehuda in that sense, but he argues on Rabbi Yehuda on another one. What does he say? According to Rabbi Yehuda, you take an apotropos for a cheresh shoteh v'katan, and you're going to collect from the chetzi nezek, from the tam. Rabbi Yaakov says we don't put an apotropos, and you only pay half. Right? You're only going to pay half of the muad. So Ravacha bar Abaye comes and he tells Ravina, I understand Abaye that he says that they're arguing because it makes sense. Why? That means there's a machlok between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yaakov to do with an apotropos, paying for a tam or not. That according to Rabbi Yaakov, we're not going to put an apotropos to pay from the tam, and therefore he says chetzi nezek, which makes sense, right? Which is basically the chetzi nezek of muad. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's the other way around. But according to Rava, that he said that there's no machlok between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yaakov. If right now you're already coming and you're telling me that we're speaking about muad, why don't you just tell me to talk about a tam? Either Rabbi Yehuda, Mem Amud Aleph, just on the top. Either Rabbi Yehuda, if you're going to tell me it's Rabbi Yehuda now, right? Dava le'shmira pechuta, that he didn't do a good shmira. Ve'lo ave le'shmira me'ula, he didn't do a good one. The Rabbi Lezer, and if it's going to be according to Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, that he didn't do shmira at all, and therefore it's going to be different, and therefore that's how we're going to continue with Zat Hashem tomorrow.